guys, David here from Mindful Kung Fu on behalf of Sudaquan Academy. Thanks for joining us again. Today we're going to talk about how to keep our body relaxed and loose in order to deliver power. We're going to talk in discussion about how to specifically design our body in order to release energy in the best way. But enough of me, let's go do this. Alright guys, so when we're talking about relaxation in the body and ultimately leading to looseness in the body in order to release power, we're going to talk about a few key things first. One, the upper body is naturally kind of tense because we go through our life using it a lot. We don't pick up things with our legs, we pick them up with our hands, so we tend to tense a lot from the upper body without using the lower body. In martial arts, this can go against us, especially when it comes to releasing power from the ground and trying to create this power out of your hands from the ground. Okay, so we need to learn how to build a pathway. Now, in order to build a pathway, we have to learn to relax the upper body. Now, I can't say, arm relax, relax, I need you to relax, right? And then all of a sudden it goes, clearly I just did that. There was no relaxation there. This is still tension. And sometimes we can get caught up in that. You can't tell a body part to relax and then it relaxes. Because the idea of telling it something is active in your mind, which is active in your arm. Hope you guys are getting this. It's like sand in an hourglass. The way the universe works is that one thing occupies space at one time. I can't go jump through a wall. The wall is probably going to win. Right? And it's the same thing when we come to energy, is we can't occupy the same space at the same time. So if your upper body is tense, the only way to relax it is to put your mind somewhere else. All right? So we'll go into this. I can't say relax arm, but I can put my mind in my legs here and my arm will naturally relax. It's really cool to understand this concept that things need to flow like sand from an hourglass. Move from one place into another place, and that's your mind. As your mind moves, guess what? The body will relax. This is the key point here. Now, as I relax, now my mind is going down, see? And I sink. We call it sinking. Now the spine is still straight. We talked about this posture idea of keeping the spine in a specific position in some of the other videos. Make sure you check them out if you like. But the spine is still straight as the body relaxes on top of the spine. Hopefully you're kind of getting this. They talk about this sometimes in the Tai Chi classics and some other old textbooks you can find, I'm sure, of hanging from the bones. Right? The bones are straight. Our intention is straight. But our mind is down and our body relaxes on the bones. Hopefully you can see that. All right, yeah. So it has this feeling of sending our mind, we call it into our dantian or into our center or into our feet. So I need to learn to send my mind down my body, into the feet, into the ground, and allow myself to sink. And as I do that, as my mind, I can exaggerate it. I'm up here. My mind goes down my spine, into my center, into my feet. Now it's in my feet, and you can see everything will just relax on its own. And the spine will still be straight. And will hang from the spine. And that is the essence of looseness, of relaxing to a point of looseness in order to feel that energy come through the body and then into your opponent. So we'll take a look at this in a little more detail. All right, so when trying to build a relaxed body, it comes down to two different parts. Clarity of mind and clarity of body. Now, clarity of mind, guys, you might be talking to the wrong person here. Sure, we all are searching for clarity of our mind. That's a whole nother discussion, and we might need a couch. And once again, I'm probably not the right person. But we can certainly talk about clarity of body. So, just to recap, The mind needs to be clear in order to send the intention. That's important. Of course, the mind is connected to the body, so if you don't have a clear mind, you're not going to have a clear body. Just remember that. That's the way it works. You can't have a dual mind or a split mind and split energy in your mind and have a nice flow in your body. It doesn't work that way. So yeah, these are kind of some advanced concepts we're talking about, but at least it plants the seed for some. So the mind is separate. Now the body, we can talk about some of the clarity and how to build some of that clarity with the body. The first thing we're going to talk about are the joints that are usually really tight. These joints are the shoulder blade, the thoracic spine, and the knees. Right? Locking the knees, locking the elbows, which cause the shoulder blade to lock, and the knees to lock causes the hips to lock, and so forth and so on. Now, I'm going to present a concept here. And the concept that I'm going to present is straight lines versus rounding. When we create a straight line in our body, it automatically, just like anything else, like if you look at a straight line and I put something on it and it just shoots it off into that direction. Everybody kind of get that? Right? That's what a straight line does. It sends it into a direction. Now I have a lot of pieces of my body here, so if any one of these create a straight line, what happens to the energy? It shoots it off into that direction. Are you seeing this? We're taking the pieces of the puzzle, we're taking the pieces of our body, and we're trying to connect them in a way that allows flow. And we can't do that by creating straight lines, can we? So my arm is locked. Where's the energy going to go? If I put something through, if this was some kind of hose and water went through, it would just go right out the back, wouldn't it? You see? Especially if my shoulder's back like this. So if I punch like this with my shoulder back, where's the energy going to go? Right out the shoulder. I'm sure you guys can probably see that. So what I have to do is I have to find a rounding. And how do we do that? How do we create this rounding? So in this case, we have to release the shoulder blade. Can you see it? The shoulder blade has to release, which creates a rounding of the back. Believe it or not, this energy goes through now and it can round just like this all the way down. This is the first step. Releasing this joint, right? I call it a gate. We have to release the gate, open this gate in order for the chi to flow. Okay? Arm, shoulder down. Sorry, my shoulder might be rising up a little bit. Shoulders down. And then the release of the shoulder blade in order to create rounding. Now it goes into the back. You can probably see a little bit of the back muscle here as it comes down and into the hip. Notice the difference. Shoulder back, no back, right? Probably gone here. And now the shoulder's doing everything to, there it is. You see the lat already engaged. And the body is now rounding forward to create a roundiness to send the energy. Right? Hopefully that's making sense. Now the same thing with the body here. The body, if I straighten the body here, especially pushing the butt out, you'll see this is a straight line. Boom, it's going to go right out the back. Right? This is going to go in here. It's going to have a hard time moving and flowing. Remember, a car that races around a track does a much better job when it's rounded versus if it was straight. Can you imagine? Burp, 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 trying to get around. Energy's the same way, guys. So if I had something that's kind of like this, 1 and 2, 3, and back, it's going to have a hard time moving and flowing. That's why we round it. You see? Now I round the body in the front to create rounding here. I round the body here to create a rounding into my hips. And you can see now that I've rounded a little bit, energy that comes in here, if I put my hands out here, is going to go right through here, rounded back here, and now it's rounding into the hip. That's the upper body and how we create clarity in the joints of the upper body. Now we look at the hips. If the hips are out here, there it goes. If the hips are here, there it goes. We created this really beautiful moving and flow, and it just goes right out the front. So we have to be careful on where the hips is. And we talked about this in the video about posture. You can take a look at that too if you want. So now I'm creating a circle, or rather a curve, in order to take a bunch of straight lines. If I took a bunch of straight lines like this, let's say, and I'm trying to send energy down it, it would be much more sensical. If I don't know if I just made that word up or not, but it would be much make better sense if I can take all the pieces and round them. Does everybody see that? Now I create a flow for the energy to go. And what's at the bottom? The feet. So now let's talk about something else. Now that we have this rounding body, this bow body, we've taken all these straight lines and created a roundiness so that way one straight line, so to speak, rounds and takes us where we need to be so the energy can flow. Now we want to look at the difference between kind of standing, right? We've all seen this standing of attention. In martial arts, we don't stand, we kind of move around and we sink. We call it sinking. So I need to take this posture that we've talked about, that we can build maybe in a horse stance or in a regular stance here. You can build it here first, which is what I recommend, and then put it into action. And the way I do that now is I have this roundiness that comes down into my foot. Immediately I feel the foot fill up. Whack, there it is. Yep, the foot's filled up back there because the roundiness is working. It's pretty interesting. If I straighten it, the energy's gone. If I go down, now the energy's back. I straighten it, it's gone. I round it, it goes back. And you can play with this. If you can get that posture to move a little bit, you will feel the energy move because the energy is coming from your upper body. And like we said, it's sinking into your lower body. So you're going to feel the difference there. So as I shift down, there's the energy in that back foot. It's really loaded up. Now my knees really need to act like shocks. I don't need to do anything else with them because I'm pushing through and engaging that hip and then releasing what we talked about, this joint back here. If I don't, I can do all this great and do this, and hopefully you can see the arm's going to be isolated. You cannot have a flow and then tension at the same time. Hopefully you can see that. It doesn't move. It's impossible. It just doesn't work that way. See? Even if I go slow, right? By accident. It's really interesting how we tend to punch forward and back at the same time sometimes. Right? I can't punch forward and back with my joint at the same time. I need to let it release. Our whole goal here is to get one direction. My grandmaster would say, every cell in the body is all moving towards one purpose. The way I like to describe this is like Finding Nemo. When all the fish came together to point the way as arrows and stuff, when they asked the directions, that's what we have to be. Everything has to move together. And when we align everything together and everything has its purpose, now the leg feels good and the hips feel good and the back, and everything is working together and no longer separate. Now we can become that arrow, like that fish. And that's the ultimate way for us to be. And that's what we're trying to achieve here in order to truly release power through the body in a relaxed way. Now, enough talk. Let's go take a look at it with my opponent. All right, guys, that concludes the first part of this video, talking about relax and loose posture in order to emit power. If you enjoyed today's video, check out the second part. We'll see you soon.